Hello, Flemington-Raritan Regional School District. I'm Superintendent Dr. Carrie McGann, and it's my pleasure to speak with you for the Minute with McGann. This is the publication during the month of April, albeit a little bit late from April, just being published out in May. That gives me a chance to speak with members of our community, members of our schools, about what are the hot items that may be on the minds of our community for the month of April. There is a lot of information included in the April newsletter. First, I want to talk a little bit about our culture and climate survey. I want to encourage those of you that haven't yet completed that culture and climate survey to take 10, maybe 12 minutes of your time and encourage your children to do the same. We have surveys available for all of our students, our younger students with parent support, and our older students could be taken on their own, as well as for parents, community members, staff, and faculty. This survey is very important to us here in Flemington-Raritan, specifically for me as superintendent, because it helps me gain an understanding about the values, the perspectives of members of our community. And I take time to read every comment that is provided to me anonymously from members of our community, both the questions and answers that are very quick to respond to, and those comments that might be longer through a narrative form. I do take the opportunity to read every one of those, and I want to encourage you to complete that if you haven't already. Also included in the newsletter is information about recognizing our media specialists, a big shout out for them. I want to take a minute with the Minute with McGann and say, did you hear the great news? So over the past week, the district has received lots of funds to support our STEM initiatives, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Last week on Thursday, there was a big announcement at Francis A. Damar Elementary School, with the school receiving, through the efforts of our teacher named Hannon, who applied for a $60,000 grant and she won it. So there is great news for that. We've also received grant funding for other STEM initiatives through our New Jersey HSMC STEM ecosystem. And the HSMC stands for Hunterdon Somerset Mercer County Consortium. And we've received grant money both last year as well as this year. So this year, just this past week, we received another $48,000 to support STEM initiatives for students. So we have really just been blown away by the excitement this week. And that doesn't even count the STEM initiatives that have happened earlier this year. Barley Sheep, Kathy Michelson received a grant there. We have grants coming in at Reading Fleming Intermediate School with Lisa Koster and her work in sustainability. So lots of great things happening during the month of April, focusing on STEM. So if you didn't hear that great news, I'm so glad to be able to share that with you. Third, an announcement about our 23-24 budget that did pass through the vote of our Board of Education. I spoke about that in earlier sessions, but I want to just call recognition to the Board of Education and members of our community who were here to hear about the budget discussion at our last board meeting. And that budget did pass, which puts in place and keeps in place smaller class sizes, funding for all 6 of our officers, the programs that are here for students, the personnel, staff, and faculty, as well as many of the materials and curriculum that's here for Flemington-Raritan. It's a top-notch district, and we're so proud to be able to support it. Last, with the Minute with McGann, I want to highlight a very significant retirement. Our Barley Sheep building principal, Mrs. Karen Gabrook, announced her retirement, and we wish her all the best as she goes on to do lots of other things. She has been here in the district for a quarter of a century, over 25 years, supporting students, faculty, staff, and really doing some great work for Flemington-Raritan. So our heart goes out to Mrs. Gabrook and her steps towards retirement. And for my Barley Sheep community that's listening, please watch for a call to committee from my office. And what that means is I'm looking for parents that are interested in serving on a committee to hire the next Barley Sheep building principal. And if you're interested in doing that, watch for information from my office. Hope you have a chance to read the full newsletter for the month of April, and I hope everyone had a lovely spring break. We look forward to seeing you in our schools, maybe at the upcoming orchestra and band concerts that are happening this week in our district. And we wish all of our students a wonderful spring time as the summer beginning to come. Spring weather has been very nice. Thank you for spending some time with the Minute with McGann for the month of April.